Gavin Newsom, I guess, is taking out the fact that he is not the vice presidential nominee, nor is he a presidential nominee, nor did he even want to be any of those things. Stop putting words in his mouth. He just wanted to be a cool guy. He just wanted to be the governor, the Batman governor, and he wanted to, dunk on Ron DeSantis. He has issued an executive order that is directing state agencies in California to sweep homeless encampments. He's basically released $1 billion in funding to allow them to do that. And according to him, the biggest problem with homeless encampments is agencies don't have enough money to sweep them and clear them and burn people's possessions and tents and get rid of them. And so, sometimes governors will engage in this is not the first time he's done this, by the way. Sometimes they'll do beach cleanups, and sometimes they'll meet with people or, whatnot. No. Instead, his cleanup is, I'm going to by myself clean up homeless encampments. It is freaking disgusting. Here he is explaining it, though.
I don't think there's anything more urgent and more frustrating than addressing the issue of encampments in the state of California. In the course of the last number of years, the state has stepped up, where in the past we provided no support, no resources to cities and counties to clean up encampments like this. Today, we've invested now over $1 billion in encampment resolution grants, not only to clean up sites like this, but to address the underlying issue in the first place. One of the big issues, though, that has been an impediment was the courts. In the past, the courts have denied the ability for local government, including the state, to clean up many of these encampments. Today,
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, let's keep listening to this bullshit.
Now it's an executive order to move the process forward. We're done. It's time to move with urgency at the local level to clean up these sites, to focus on public health, to focus on public safety. There are no longer any excuses. $1 billion this state has invested to support communities to clean up these encampments. We have now no excuse with the Supreme Court decision. This executive order is about pushing that paradigm further and getting a sense of urgency that's required of local government to do their job.
Fuck you sideways, you piece of shit. I am... I cannot. Okay. So, tell me that you're not running for president, or tell me you're running for president without telling me you're running for president eventually, right? This is also, he has the clip of him cleaning up homeless encampments, going there and, throwing out people's personal belongings who, lost their jobs or their rent was increased, and hence they found themselves living outdoors. This is all buttering up so he can put together a smash cut of no one's tougher on homeless people than me, and yes, I do clean up, and basically buying in to the right-wing narrative about California. And notice what he says and what he cites. And we talked about this with Paige Omek, our producer on this very show. He cites the Supreme Court decision, which, if you're just catching up, recently announced that, yes, you can clear homeless encampments, and homelessness and sleeping outdoors is illegal. That actually it's not protected status to say, hey, I just literally have nowhere to go. I lost my job. There is no shelter. I don't have the money to afford rent in a place. That is not an excuse. That, in fact, there is no protected status for homeless people. It is absolutely your fault if the housing crisis and the lack of a wage raise, or a loved one dying who was your main source of income, all of those factors, that is now on you. That is now on you. And here is a Democratic governor saying, oh, hell yeah. I love what a far-right extremist court just handed me, the ability to clear homeless encampments without any regard for civil rights of people. So this is massive. He's now saying that there will be consequences for counties that do not do that, that don't clear their homeless encampments. This is according to Politico. He hit the throttle on his pressure campaign for local governments to address homeless encampments on Thursday, issuing his most direct threat so far that he'll cut off money to counties he believes are too sluggish in getting people off the street. Where have we heard this before? Republicans. This is what Republicans do. This is what Donald Trump threatened, which is so fucking ironic because Newsom posited himself as the anti-Trump. But basically, this is what Trump did. I'm going to cut off funding to blue states if they are sanctuary states. I'm going to cut off funding to blue states if they, I don't know, for whatever reason. What were the other reasons? Any reason whatsoever. And they'll still do it. And this is what he's doing to his own counties, his own cities, in his own fucking state. This guy is a piece of shit. This guy is such a fucking turncoat, you guys. He's such a fucking turncoat. And I swear to God, I really don't want to be in a position in 4 years, in 8 years, where I'm like, oh, I gotta vote for Gavin Newsom. Because that's exactly the face I'll make when we have to, oh, I gotta vote for Gavin Newsom. Because, I guess it's better than this literal flaming hot piece of shit equipped with an AR-15 who's become the leader of the Republican Party after leading the storming of the Capitol Part 7, in which AOC actually was murdered in some sort of street mob style. Like this is not, we have to make sure, Democrats, that these people are not our fucking guys. And again, it starts at home. I'm already imagining how am I gonna talk about this with my mom, because my mom loves Gavin Newsom. And everybody knows somebody who loves Gavin Newsom, who's like, I don't know, he's just great, he's like, I feel like he's like tall, and that's very good. And he's like, he's not like crazy. So like being tall and not crazy, but I'm telling you, we should not excuse this kind of behavior. Though counties writ large were the target of his broadside, Newsom's ire was not so subtly aimed at one in particular. Los Angeles, fuck you very much. The epicenter of the state's homeless crisis, where the Board of Supervisors gave an ice-cold reception to his recent executive order. If we don't see demonstrable results, I'll start to redirect money, Newsom told reporters. I'll be candid with you. This is more broadly an indictment of counties. Counties need to do more. He continued, we're here with our hands out, open hands, not a closed fist. That said, if we don't see results, we're going to change our approach. His comments mark the latest escalation of his assertive tone. I'm sorry, this is so small. His assertive tone on homeless encampments in California, prompted by the recent Supreme Court ruling that freed local governments to enforce anti-camping laws, including through fines, citations, or jail time. Bitches, not you. If that you're the Frantifa. I'm talking about these bitches. Bitches, do you know what happens when you fine a homeless person for camping outside? They can't pay it. If they had the money to pay your fines, they would have the money to have a fucking home, a roof over their heads. So what happens? And we've seen this time and time again. There's incredible reporting on this. This is proven. They can't pay the citations. They miss the court dates. Then what happens? They get locked up. So now you have burdened the taxpayer and the system. I mean, basically what you're asking the taxpayer to do is, hey, would you like, instead of paying money to bolster some sort of, I don't know, state jobs guarantee, state housing guarantee, free college tuition, an eviction moratorium, rent, freezes on rent increases, which there are in California, but not nearly enough, and not on all buildings and not on all homes. Instead of that, what would you like to pay us money so that you don't have to see the unhoused, and by they meaning you, because you could really be unhoused at any point, you can lock them up in state penitentiaries. Would you like that to happen? That is what is happening. This isn't just fucking Batman governor going up and cleaning shit up. This is carceral. This is exposing people. And look, even this programs that say we have, homes set up first of all, there isn't enough housing. We know there's not enough housing, not even enough housing because there's all this like, well, the unhoused don't actually want to go into the programs, and they actually don't want a roof over their heads. Fuck you. All right. Number one, that's not true. Number two, we should understand the stipulations that are put on that housing are very, very tall and very, very high. And there's a lot that people are dealing with. And yes, substance abuse is part of that. We lack a holistic approach to the housing crisis. And it's so sick that this dude is now trying to score political points by, again, sweeping people's belongings into the trash bin. We're done with excuses. And the last big excuse is, well, the courts are saying we can't do it. That's no longer excuse. So we had a simple executive order, do your job, no more excuses. San Francisco Mayor London Breed says she's open to new penalties, including citations and possible jail time for those who refuse service. I fucking hate this state. This is what I'm saying. Like for those of you who are like I've said this before, maybe I said it on this show, but Tim Walz is the governor of a state that passed all these incredible progressive things. Seems like a pretty tight place to live, only because it's not flooded with sicko tech billionaires who are giving hand over fist money to our pathetic, impotent state legislature and this fucking pathetic, impotent governor. Like, actually, all of the Republicans, and they know they're being bad faith about this, they would love it here in California because it is nothing but sweeping our problems under the rug. It's nothing but relying on the cops to arrest our problems away while homeowners can enjoy their fucking, Sonoma wines. Newsom on Thursday said Thursday noted he had started a similar program when he was mayor of the city 25 years ago to reconnect people with family, but he said that's not the first thing I would do. What, meaning locking people up? Oh, London Breed, has directed staff to offer homeless people bus tickets out of the city before offering shelter. If I had money, truly, if I had money, I would buy Detroit and we would turn it all into, I just watched the Anthony Bourdain episode about Detroit, which was back in 2013, but it's a great episode and it's great. And it's highlighting urban agriculture and farming and what happens when there's so much divestment from, these towns that once were, the height of the American empire, which honestly, capitalism is like that, man. Capitalism, have you heard of the town of Potosi in Bolivia, this silver mining town that was the glory, right, back in the day, whenever the day was with the fucking Spanish crown, right? This is Potosi was incredible, marketplaces, communities, and but then when the silver was gone, or in Detroit's case, when, the manufacturing was cheaper elsewhere, it just became a ghost town. So anyway, here's what I do. I buy a town. Anyone who's unhoused, you get housing. Also, we work the land, so we grow our own food, and everyone can fuck right off. All right? Everyone, there's treatment programs. You bring us your mentally unwell, bring us your addicts. And then we'll break off into the fucking Gulf. I don't think Detroit's anywhere. You know what I'm saying? We'll break off. We'll start a floating haven. Los Angeles, however, made clear that Grants Pass, which again is the Supreme Court ruling, does not significantly alter their approach to dealing with homelessness, and that they've been vocal opponents to policies that would, quote, criminalize people living on the street. Thank you, Karen Bass. Although you are so not enough. We don't want encampment. That's not Karen Bass, by the way, talking. That's city council. We don't want encampments on our sidewalks. We cannot, nor are we legally allowed to make jails our de facto housing and shelter, said Board of Supervisors Chair Lindsay Horvath at the meeting last week, where county officials were united in their visible skepticism to the governor's order. Thank fuck. Finally united about one thing. The board later approved a motion making clear that county jails would not be used to hold people arrested solely for anti-camping ordinances. Newsom did not specify whether he wanted to see cities or counties ramp up criminal or civil enforcement. Quote, no one wants to see criminalization, he said. That's a lazy framework. And that's the binary people. That's the binary people that don't want to do the job or going to try to frame. And I reject that. Bitch, you can reject whatever you want to reject. Like, oh, no, like, I'm sorry. Gavin Newsom is reminding me of a lot of people who pretend like they care about the unhoused, pretend like they care about the housing crisis, and absolutely reject the carceral state, but they want everything to be cleaned up. Okay? Now, you cannot have it both ways. I don't know how to tell you this, but you cannot simultaneously say, "Can you please get the homeless out of my face? I don't love it. I don't like it. It's gross." And say that sweeping them up, that making it illegal to camp outdoors is not relying on the carceral state. It's literally relying on this bunk law, again, passed by an extremist court to criminalize homelessness. It's like, so there's that. And the other thing is, miss me with this, you're actually trying bullshit. Because if you were actually trying, you would go after the real estate industry. You would go after insurance companies that apparently now in California are the reasons that like landlords are being charged extra for their fucking insurance. A lot of people don't want to insure homeowners anymore. So I guess I have sympathy for these landlords, okay? But you got to go after them. You got to go after, buildings that are being built that don't have low income housing or mixed income housing. On and on and on and on and on. Right? This is a multi-prong problem. All we're asking is for a deeper sense of urgency, Newsom says. You know what the urgency he's feeling is? It's, I want to run for president soon. I want to look good. And ergo, please, I don't think we're going to fix the housing crisis before now and then. So can you just lock all these people up so that when the camera crews roll around to talk about how bad California is, it doesn't look poorly on me. And in the meantime, I will allow camera crews to show me straight up removing someone's belongings by the LA River or like in a fucking, canal here. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. This is a Gavin Newsom rolling away a shopping cart full of someone's things underneath an overpass that, oh, I'm sorry, were we using the overpass? Were we using that overpass? Because last I checked, this was my favorite story that came out of the I think it was the American Prospect, but David Dayen retweeted it. Last I checked, our overpasses and underpasses were so unsupervised, and so many highways were just not cleaned that a massive fire broke out under one of them. Not because of a homeless person, but because someone bought storage area underneath an overpass and then proceeded to store like however many tons of hand sanitizer left over from when they bought too much on Amazon and we're going to jack up the price during the global pandemic, which is still ongoing. The shit broke out into flames. It shut down a major highway in LA. I'm pretty sure you should go after, in fact, I think it was the California Department of Transportation that allowed this area to be sold as storage to that whoever the fuck put a bunch of hand sanitizers under the bridge. Truly the most California story I've ever heard, which is, let's just blame homeless people. Meanwhile, fires are going to break out. It's no problem. We don't actually have a problem with fires in this state. Just for some context, and I for those of you not in California, it's a lovely place. It is my home. I was born and raised here. I have a lot of thoughts about it here. I think this state is worth fighting for, but it pisses me off every fucking day. We just have a lot of people. We have a lot of people. We have a lot of rich people, and it's annoying. From the LAist, 44% of Californians are renters. 44. That's huge. According to the U.S. Census, the median monthly rent in the state is $2,850, a third higher than the national figure, according to the online real estate marketer Zillow. Fuck Zillow. About 30% of the state's renters are considered severely cost burdened, meaning they spend at least half of their income on housing. Half. By the Public Policy Institute of California, now their rents could rise even more by more even burdensome levels. Again, this article is about how insurance companies are no longer insuring homeowners, and so the homeowners are they're raising the rates of insurance, and landlords are passing that buck to renters. Disgusting. Just so gross. Philip Schwartz says he's getting a head start on Olympic prep. Yeah, he is. And this is the thing with every Olympics, right? The world over, whether in, in Beijing, whether in Paris, it is always an excuse to gentrify, to evict, to pay people, in China's case, to just straight up move, and to get rid of the unhoused population that is your population. A lot of them are workers. Philip Blair, make debtors' prisons great again. Seriously. Philip Blair also, how many humanless bedrooms does Cali have? A lot. A lot. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do